was always the Jag. It's always the Jag. It's always the Jag. Always the Jag.
Welcome into Always the Jags and King Will's album review party. I'm doing a interesting crossover episode with myself and my host Ty, because we have news that intersects, both worlds of, my football podcast and my music podcast, because the host, the performer for the Super Bowl halftime show will be none other than Kendrick Lamar, who, of course, on the King Will podcast, we have extensively covered his beef with Drake, all the songs that he released and everything that went into that. And with the explosion of Not Like Us rocketing him up to the top place on the charts, everything's kind of cooled down since then, but it makes complete sense why he was selected as the performer. And so now we're just kind of getting thoughts on it. So what are your initial thoughts when you hear that Kendrick Lamar is going to be he's going to be performing at the Super Bowl halftime show?
Well, first, thank you for having me on the Jaguar podcast.
Of course.
This is the first and most likely only time I will be present here because I know nothing about football.
Natural. What you mean?
Kendrick Lamar makes a lot of, I get it. Just from a popularity sense, he's absolutely humongous this year. The Drake beef blew him up in a way that I've never seen before for him, and Not Like Us has become there's a lot of songs of this summer because I think this year has just been absolutely phenomenal for music, but Not Like Us has been the song of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And so how could you not?
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's so ironic because, again, remember, first person shooter with Drake and J. Cole is what started this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, on that line, Drake famously says, "We're big as the Super Bowl."
Mm-hmm.
Well, look who's hosting the Super Bowl now off of that entire beef.
Has Drake ever been to the Super Bowl?
Drake's never
as a
performed
performer?
at it. Mm-mm.
And this will be Kendrick's second time if you include the performance with Dr. Dre and Snoop and Eminem and
Exactly.
Mary.
So it's kind of like it's not the first time. I guess I'd say it's the first time a solo hip hop artist has hosted the Super Bowl, because you had the Drake, you had the Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar when it was in California, and that just kind of felt like, let's get all the California hip hop artists and throw them in the Super Bowl performance, because it's California and all of that. And it was cool for hip hop, but at the same time, it's not the same as having a solo hip hop artist perform like Justin Timberlake or Usher or Rihanna. You don't have to put them with 5 or 6 different other R&B artists or anything like that to have them perform. You just say their name and they are performing at the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So that in and of itself is cool, because also the Black Eyed Peas did do the Super Bowl. But
I don't know if that
counts as much. So we'll say it's the first time a solo hip hop artist has been, taken to will be performing at the Super Bowl.
Right.
And I think obviously it's going to be interesting. I think Kendrick will definitely do Not Like Us. But at the same time,
I can't wait to hear him call Drake a pedophile.
That's the thing that I'm wondering how he's gonna do it, because it's kids still watch the Super Bowl, 5, 6, 7-year-olds. So
he's gonna do it. He's gonna say certified lover boy, certified pedophile.
So yeah, that's probably what I might be most excited for, because sometimes they'll chop up songs. So I don't know if they'll chop up that part, but it's gonna be prepared for some questions from your kids if they're wondering what Kendrick is saying, if you're gonna watch the Super Bowl with them. But yeah, no, he's got like plenty of catalog to perform. I hope he does all right, which he did last year. Um,
Mhm.
the main thing though is like it's caused so much controversy because the Super Bowl is being played in New Orleans this year,
Mhm.
which of course is the birthplace of jazz, but many people don't realize that's also the hometown of another extremely popular hip hop artist, someone who's paved the way for a lot of other hip hop artists after them. And that, of
Mhm.
course, is Lil Wayne. So the initial reactions from Nicki Minaj and like Birdman, a whole bunch of people are extremely upset because I think Jay Z had a hand in choosing who's going to do the Super Bowl. And so if you're Jay Z, it's like, and the NFL is finally like, okay, yeah, let's do a hip hop artist. And it's like, who are you going to choose? And it's like, well, Kendrick has kind of become the biggest hip hop artist. Like he's killing it right now, like everybody loves him. Even though the numbers have kind of cooled off a little bit for him, like he's not like in the top 10. I think he's in the top 20 of artists everywhere. Um, and Eminem, I feel like is like had the biggest album that no one's talking about this year because like he's doing crazy numbers on Spotify, but no one's really
Mhm.
talking about the album because it just ended up not being as good. So like people are still talking about Kendrick is my point.
Right.
So it's kind of like a no-brainer choice. Like if you want to bring the first hip hop show to I mean the first hip hop head solo headliner to the Super Bowl, Kendrick is the guy to pick as of right now. But a lot of people are upset that it wasn't Lil Wayne. And I think Nicki Minaj even said something about like they're always holding us back. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? Because Kendrick and Lil Wayne are both black men. So I'm a little confused by like who's being held back. Um, but either way, it's to me, it's so like remember when Maroon 5 did the Super Bowl performance that most people didn't like and it wasn't very good, but they were hosting the Super Bowl and they brought out Big Boy and Travis Scott, and it made
Mhm.
absolutely no sense based upon their music. They've never done a song together or anything, but
Mhm.
they brought them out. Why? Because the Super Bowl was in Atlanta.
Mhm.
So my point being is like Kendrick, I'm 100% certain that as soon as he found out he'd be doing it in New Orleans, his first thought was, how do I get Lil Wayne on stage up there?
Mhm.
And there's like Kendrick and Lil Wayne have songs together. And even if they don't, like, I'm sure it makes more sense for Kendrick to bring out Lil Wayne than it does for Maroon 5 to bring out Travis Scott. Like,
Right.
I'm sure there's a way he could make it work. But now, because so much controversy and so many people are talking about it, I almost feel like he can't. Now, the Drake beef also kind of goes into it because, again, Lil Wayne is the one that put Drake on. They're obviously very close allies and friends. So maybe even without all of the controversy around it, he still wouldn't have really been able to because of the beef. But at the same time, oh, sorry. At the same time, by the time we get to the Super Bowl, it'll have been like a year since the beef.
Mhm.
Now, while the beef is why Kendrick is kind of able to perform it, like again,
Mhm.
the beef birthed Not Like Us got so popular. That's why he's at the top of the charts now. And
Right.
that's partially why he got to perform at the Super Bowl. Um, like we'll be in February next year. I don't think people will be talking about the beef as much. Like Jay-Z and Nas, if Jay-Z brought out Nas for a show, um, it wouldn't be weird, even though they had
Mhm.
some of the biggest, one of the most intense hip hop beefs ever. I think even a year after it ended, it was
Mhm.
kind of fine. They kind of buried like it was over. So
Mhm.
I think it's still, I mean, then again, like, would Lil Wayne like be on stage while Kendrick is performing Not Like Us, which is a very intense Drake diss track? I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have worked
Mhm.
out anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess basically it kind of it makes me feel like even if you didn't have all this Drake beef issue, like now Kendrick almost can't bring out Lil Wayne because it'll feel like he's saying, I don't really deserve to do this. Lil Wayne should really have been the guy, but I'm gonna bring him out to kind of appease
See,
instead of
and
like it being his idea.
that's where I think I disagree because I don't think that would be the to me I don't get that mentality of like
Oh
if he
no?
brought out Little Wayne that would be like him saying it shouldn't have been me. I think it would just be like paying homage and like paying respects to not like Little Wayne has died, but like showing
Pay your respects.
paying respect.
R.I.P. to the
Yeah,
guy that's still living.
that's the wrong choice of words.
Yeah.
But like showing respect to Lil Wayne by bringing him out on a stage that is like kind of his as well.
Yeah,
Like
no,
I don't
yeah,
I
yeah,
I I don't see it as any kind of like Kendrick can't do this now. Dude, bring out Lil Wayne and play Mona Lisa. The crowd
right,
is
Mona
gonna
Lisa,
lose their
exactly.
mind.
Yeah.
Okay? Like no one's gonna.
And I sincerely hope that that's what happens, and that's the
Mhm.
perception that's on there.
Yeah.
And I sincerely hope that it doesn't. I just wish it could have remained Kendrick's idea because, like, to me, when everyone was, and I know everyone believes that Lil Wayne should have headlined, and like, in a way, I can agree, and I see it, but it's like, for to me, it's like, guys, he's gonna bring out Lil Wayne. Like, it's Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
He's not stupid. He's like one of the best hip hop artists of our generation. He's not gonna go to New Orleans on the biggest stage in New Orleans and not bring out the biggest hip hop artist from New Orleans. Like
I think
it
I
just
think it
kind
would
of
be wild if he didn't. I think it
yeah,
would be wild if
exactly.
he didn't bring
Right.
out Lil Wayne.
Right. If this was March and Lil Wayne didn't come out, then we
Yeah.
would be like, what just happened? This is crazy. This is insane. That's
Right.
the reaction. I would be having that same reaction that they're having. But to me, I'm like, yeah, they're gonna bring out Lil Wayne. Again, if Maroon 5 is gonna bring out Travis Scott and Big Boy, they're gonna bring out Lil Wayne. So I guess we'll see what happens. Again, I don't even know if Lil Wayne would be willing to do it because of the beef. But at the same time, I think Lil Wayne loves New Orleans more than he loves Drake. Like to me, like I feel like his love for the city would make him want to do it, even if because Kendrick like he has to perform not like us. Like it's not
It's
gonna happen.
right. It
Um
has to happen, and he has to say that that I'm trying to think. I don't think Lil Wayne was ever thrown into it at all.
no, no.
Like
And
like a
and
stray was never thrown at Lil Wayne
and
uh
like
during.
and Kendrick wasn't even beefing with Lil Wayne's record, Cash Money Records. Lil
Right.
Kendrick was only calling out OVO. So when he
Right.
says, certified pedophiles, he's not talking about Lil Wayne.
He's
He's talking
specifically
about
talking about
OVO.
OVO.
The
Right.
problem is that, Drake signed to Cash Money and off of his success from that, he started OVO. So it's kind of like OVO. It's not like an offshoot of Cash Money, but again, Drake is from Cash Money. So I think it just is it's not like I said, the beef has nothing to do with Lil Wayne, other than that Lil Wayne is like Drake's mentor. Kind of like what Dr. Dre was for Kendrick, Lil Wayne was that for Drake. So it just kind of depends on like if Drake was hosting the Super Bowl in California, would he bring out Dr. Dre after this beef with Kendrick Lamar? I don't really
Mhm.
know. I feel like that's more of like a personal thing for like again, in this case, it would be Lil Wayne to decide like, do I want to? Because Drake's my homie, and I don't think Drake would be like, you can't do it. Or even if he does, I don't think it really matters. Like, I don't think Drake's opinion
Right.
on this really matters at all. It's
Right.
it's literally just based upon does Lil Wayne want to do it or not.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and I think he will. I
mhm.
would imagine Lil Wayne would.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna hear a Millie. I think he's gonna come out, and the crowd's gonna go wild. They're gonna do Mona
Yes.
Lisa. Um, yeah, because
And they're
Mona
gonna
Lisa would
and they're
obviously
gonna
be
close
crazy.
out with Not Like Us. They're
And
gonna close. I
Lil
think I
Wayne is
think
going
it's
to
gonna
be
be.
on stage with Kendrick, and they're going to be going, certified pedophiles.
I can't wait to see the crowd. I can't wait to hear because I will not be there, obviously.
What? We
But
said
I
we were going to
can't.
go together.
Oh, that's
What
true.
happened?
Okay, I will go with you just for I can sports, woohoo. I can get in I can enjoy a show. Um,
Hmm.
but I just can't wait to see the crowd say like scream out that lyric and then the wop 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 right afterwards. Like I think I'm calling it now. I think it's going to be bigger than any cheering done
Hmm.
during the actual game. Is like the sound from the crowd
Oh, going
during
wop,
Not
wop,
Like
wop.
Us being played. I think that's going to be bigger than any
Ooh.
play, any cheer, anything like that from the actual game.
I mean, I could see it. I could definitely see it. So, who do you think also could come up on that stage do you just real quick, do you have anyone else that you think Kendrick might bring out for the Super Bowl halftime show? Just randomly off the top of your head?
Ooh. No one immediately off the top of my head.
Mhm.
I don't know who else would be a good like pick alongside him. Do you?
The only one I can think of is if the Detroit Lions end up making the Super Bowl, which a lot
Hmm.
of people think they will.
Hmm.
I think Kendrick would bring Eminem,
Oh, really?
obviously. I mean, again, both Dr. Dre mentored. Eminem is from Detroit. There's going to be a lot of Detroit Lions fans, which means a lot of Detroit fans, which means a lot of Eminem fans. I feel like it would make sense. And I feel like he would do it whether or not Detroit makes the Super Bowl. But if Detroit does, it'll add
Oh.
like a whole nother layer.
Oh, well, and okay. That gave me an idea then. I think if the I don't know how good the Carolina Panthers are, but I would
They are
love
not.
for him. They're not.
They are not going to the Super Bowl this year.
They're not going to the
I'm
Super Bowl.
sorry.
You
I'm sorry.
already you already
I
know.
could I could bet money on that. If they made it to the Super Bowl and I bet money on it, I would make enough money to pay for like 10 more Super Bowl trips because the
Wow.
odds
Okay.
are that infinitesimally
Are that
small.
low? Well, in the off shooting star chance, I would love to see J. Cole on stage with Kendrick. I think
That,
that would be a
yeah.
really funny because there's no way he's gonna bring out Drake. There's no way Drake would agree to that
No.
playing
But
Not Like Us.
because
But I
again,
think having J. Cole up there would be like a sign of like burying the hatchet alongside just absolutely hilarious and huge.
what if Kendrick raps over Drake's verses? Like, what if they do first person shooter, but Kendrick raps over Drake's verses and J. Cole's on it? Oh my god. You see, it's like that could be a perfect way to like end the beef. Like if Kendrick brings out Drake on the Super Bowl, the biggest stage, but
Hmm.
it doesn't work because the biggest song from the beef he's gonna be performing. Like that's the
Yeah,
difference. Like
no way.
Jay-Z and Nas could have done that because Ether and Takeover weren't like summer hits. It was just kind of like I think this is the first time a beef has turned into a certified
Right.
bop.
The Venn diagram has eclipsed. Like they're
Right.
over each other right in this moment.
And that's one of those things that's kind of making me think that like maybe this Drake and Kendrick beef might not ever get resolved because Kendrick Lamar's biggest song is calling Drake a pedophile. And it's like
Hmm.
if you're Drake, what do you can't ever have a show with Kendrick because he's got to do his biggest song.
Right.
So it's one of those things. It's like I don't think like again, Nas and Jay Z probably don't perform Takeover and Ether anymore, but they don't have to because they got those aren't their biggest songs. So I
Right.
think that's another wrinkle to the whole beef. Like it may not ever get resolved because
Hmm.
that's Kendrick's number one hit.
Cause Not Like Us spread to people outside of hip hop. People that do not like hip hop will
I've
listen
heard Not
to
Like
and
Us.
dance to Not Like Us. Like it is bigger. It is so much bigger than the beef. And I just
Mhm.
can't stop laughing at the fact that he just calls one of the biggest artists a pedophile in it. He just calls Drake.
It's like there's so many ways to say that Kendrick has won the beef, but performing at the Super Bowl has got to be a whole nother level,
That's
especially because it started on the song where Drake said, "We're big as the Super Bowl."
it, and it feels like Kendrick just keeps winning
Yeah.
from it. Like I feel like every couple months just going forward, we're gonna get these tiny little subtle like little jabs into Drake, whether it's like Drake putting out singles that are then like kind of poorly received or like, all right, well, this is like boring because
Okay,
he released
pedophile.
those like, yeah, okay,
Oh, yeah.
but like he released that little EP
Mm-hmm.
after the beef and everything,
And we tried
and
to
it
review it, and
we
it
tried
was
it was so boring and it just made me think of like, oh yeah, this is why Kendrick beat you.
right. And then we have on Kendrick on his Instagram released a
Hmm.
song that's
Hmm.
gotten like 10 articles and people are still talking about it. We didn't even know
Hmm.
the name of it. We can't even play it back because it's on Instagram, and if you want to play it, you have to like scroll in order to see like your favorite part of the song and listen back to it. But people still talk about it more than an entire EP that Drake just released.
Did you
And
know that Drake had released another song like last week or something like that?
oh no, after the one that we
After the
reviewed.
EP, he released like another song. I haven't even listened to it because I don't
Oh
care.
man,
But
yeah.
Kendrick drops a song, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go out of my way to listen to it now.
Right, right.
Like
And it was really interesting because I was listening to that song too, and he was like, he's talking about like what would Lecrae do. And Lecrae is like a really big like Christian rapper, like it's kind of the lane that he stays in. But he's always said that he
mhm,
wanted to do a song with like Kendrick or Kanye.
mhm,
So I thought it was really interesting that Kendrick referenced like Lecrae and of course Terrace Martin, one of my favorite saxophone players that Kendrick
mhm,
Lamar has worked with before.
mhm.
Little known fact: Terrace Martin actually liked one of my posts a long time ago, back in 2021. I still have the screenshot to prove it, in case anyone
You're,
was wondering.
you're still riding
So,
that high.
oh yeah, I will be riding that high until I die, son,
Yeah.
because he saw it and liked it. That yeah. So anyway, so basically, I know Kendrick Lamar. So that's just
Yeah,
to sum
that's
that
the
up.
moral of all of this.
Yeah.
King Whale and King Whale on Super Bowl Stadium.
Hey, hey, you need some saxophone. I mean, you know. So anyway, yeah, it just kind of feels like at this point Drake doesn't have to release a track in order to win. It's just
Mm,
every time Drake releases some like you Kendrick doesn't have to continue beefing in order to win, I guess is what I mean. Like
right.
every time Drake releases something, it makes Kendrick look better. Every time Kendrick releases something, it makes Kendrick look better and it makes Drake look worse.
Everything Drake does proves Kendrick's point that he made. And it's just like, see?
And now Kendrick's at the Super Bowl
And now Kendrick's at the Super
twice.
Bowl.
Just
What a
two more
what a
times than Drake
bow
has
to
ever
beat.
done. And like if you had to ask me like 2 years ago who's gonna be the first solo hip hop artist to headline the Super Bowl, I
Would
would have
not have
said
guessed
Drake.
Kendrick. Hmm.
I would have said Drake. I mean, if you asked me at the beginning of this year, before this
I think
beef,
it I think it's kind of wild that Drake has never
right?
because of how big he is.
Right. And he had at one point he had the hip hop genre like in his grip. Like it was just him. And like as
Mhm.
much as J. Cole is like, we're the big three that we started a league, it was kind of like you guys are kind of a big three, but it's more like Drake was here and like when J. Cole said that, it's like you're like like most people thought that like you're better, but like as far as like numbers, sheer numbers and like stuff goes, it was a
Right.
pretty big gap, right? And the
Right.
gap is still there. It's just now Kendrick is up there with Drake.
Right.
So yeah. So either way, it's gonna be an amazing Super Bowl show. Thank you guys for joining us on this little crossover. Um any last thoughts on Kendrick hosting the Super Bowl? Like Lil Wayne, do you feel like it's a snub or anything like that?
Go Jaguars? Did I did I do it right?
You did it right. You did it right. I would
Okay.
love to say that we're going to the Super Bowl. Um, if we make the playoffs, I'll be happy. That'll be
Okay.
that'll be success for the Jaguars this year.
If you're happy, then I'm happy.
And I'm
I don't think Kendrick pick was a snub. I think he is just too big for this year specifically.
happy.
It's like a lightning in a bottle. Too many like stars kind of aligned for Kendrick to be chosen here, and I think it just makes the most poetic sense in that way. I I hope it makes up for it by having Lil Wayne there as well.
Right. And I agree. I don't think Lil Wayne was snubbed. I definitely think the choice should have been Kendrick. If you asked me straight up who should do it, I would have picked Kendrick over Lil Wayne
Mhm.
any day. And I just hope that when Kendrick brings out Lil Wayne, or like something will come out that will indicate like this was always going to be the plan. Like Kendrick was not only doing this just because everybody thought, because a lot of hip hop people thought that Lil Wayne should have done this. Like to me, this is something that Kendrick probably decided on the minute Jay-Z told him, hey, you're going to do the Super Bowl this year. So
Mhm.
hopefully that kind of becomes a narrative, because I would hate for the narrative to become like he only did this because Lil Wayne, because everyone was asking for Lil Wayne to be there. And I don't think it
Right.
will. It's just, in the internet and the society nowadays, people can take so many things out of context. You know, it feels like that could shine a negative light on the performance, but I don't think it will. I think overall it'll be amazing,
Yeah.
and whichever teams make it to the Super Bowl, yeah, because if Detroit makes it and Eminem is there with Lil Wayne, they could do No Love on the stage next to Kendrick Lamar. Like, how
Oh,
insane would that be? Oh,
we should be Super Bowl halftime organizers because that sounds like an amazing concert.
right. And that was just off the top of my head. Imagine if you paid me to do this. Like,
Imagine give King Will time and money. He's
mm,
putting on the best show you've ever seen.
ever seen.
Mhm.
So let us know your thoughts. And again, this was kind of fun to crossover because it kind
Yeah,
of intersected with football
this is a
and
fun episode.
yeah. Let us know. Let me know if you think the Jaguars are gonna go to the Super Bowl. My Jaguars fans. Obviously I would love it, but we'll see. And let us know if you think it should have been Lil Wayne, should it have been Kendrick, should it have been someone else? Are you excited for the Kendrick performance? Do you think
Should
it's
have
going to
been
suck?
Chapel Roan and Sabrina Carpenter.
Those are
I don't know.
some. I mean,
Big
honestly,
stars this year.
had Espresso come out like a month earlier,
You
it
think?
could have been Sabrina Carpenter.
You think it
Could
could have been
have.
Sabrina?
I mean, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to like
They
because
both just killed it at the VMAs. They
they did.
absolutely
They did.
demolished it.
And like Carpenter has been around for just as long as Kendrick that people don't realize she was just like a teenager when it did. Because she's been around since
I don't think they've done a song
2013.
together, but I would like I want to
Sabrina
see them
Carpenter
both
and
on the
Kendrick Lamar.
They should bring out Lil Wayne,
Oh,
Eminem, and Sabrina Carpenter.
yes, I approve. I approve of that wholeheartedly. But I want it to be like a really hard hip hop song that Sabrina Carpenter is on. Like instead of like
Yes.
Kendrick going over to like pop, like Maroon 5, like I want Sabrina Carpenter to come over to hip hop and just
Yeah.
do the hook. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I also hope he performs All the Stars. That would be really cool to see. SZA will
Mm.
probably definitely be there. I don't think there's a way
Oh,
SZA's there.
that would be a really good song
Yeah,
for
I
the
think
Super
he's
Bowl.
definitely gonna bring out SZA. So those are our picks: SZA, J. Cole, Eminem. I mean, obviously Lil Wayne is number one, but Lil
Lil
Wayne,
Wayne
J. Cole, Eminem, SZA, and Sabrina Carpenter.
and Sabrina Carpenter.
So those are our Super Bowl guest spot picks.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to see in February. We'll have to do this episode again to see if we were right when we reviewed
If
performance.
if we picked it spot on, I'm buying like every lottery ticket
Oh my
because
god, yeah, we cracked the code.
we cracked the code.
I need to bet money on this right now, actually.
Yeah.
We'll be rich. So yeah, let us know your thoughts. If you let us know who you think Kendrick should bring out for the Super Bowl. And yeah, until next time, everybody.
Until then.